Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our show. I'm here today once again with our certified nutritionist to the zillions, Denise Canellos.
Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. Hi, sister.
It's great to have Denise with us again. It is the weekend preceding the beginning of Lent this upcoming Monday, everybody. So Denise and I wanted to share the good news with you that now our HealthyFast Lenten Guidebook that I have here printed out and spiral bound.
I
Now,
have here on my phone.
oh, that's great. You can now upload it, everybody. You can purchase and upload it also at the gift shop of our coffeewithsistervassa.com website. So go to this link. And if you're interested, you no longer have to become a subscriber to patreon.com/sistervassa to get the guidebook. I have had it also uh, put in a binder like this. You see, that's the cover of the Lenten Guidebook. And if you are interested and if you get stressed out about Lenten rules and you're interested in somehow following them, well, this guidebook is the answer to all of your problems, my friends, this season. Okay. So here you also have a Lenten calendar. I'm going to take it out of my binder and show it to you, indicating to you in very simple ways the whole structure of Lent and the Lenten rules. But you also have nutritional guidelines and tips prepared lovingly for us by Denise. You also have a shopping list to help you prepare and well stock your pantry and fridge for Lent without having any needless stress about it. You have meal plans about every level of fasting, whether you're going to go all the way and fast oil-free during weekdays, but very few people do that, but you can go all the way or have limited oil. And there are some weight loss tips if you're watching your weight during Lent, because certainly we also don't want to gain weight during Lent if we don't absolutely need to. And you have for each of the 40 days a daily reflection, either on scripture or on a Lenten liturgical text, my friends. So, coming up tomorrow on the Sunday of Adam's Exile, also known as the Sunday of Forgiveness, we prepare by remembering the banishment of Adam and Eve from paradise, this exile that was the result of unhealthy eating from a tree that wasn't healthy for us because God didn't want us to eat from it, right? So Lent also does have to do with real eating or not eating. It's not only spiritual, just like the central sacrament of the church. The Eucharist is not only communion spiritually with Christ, just like our fall had to do with eating, so does our salvation and redemption have to do with putting order back into our eating, right? If it's become unhealthy. And we voluntarily exile ourselves on different levels, and it's expressed in the traditions of Lent and liturgies of Lent. It's expressed in various ways, this concept of voluntary exile. We abstain, for example, from readings from the New Testament in certain ways. In the official lectionary of the church on weekdays, you have an increase in Old Testament readings rather than the New Testament readings, right? You do have the readings from the Gospel according to Mark most of the time, except the Sunday of Orthodoxy. We'll get into that on our audio podcasts on Lenten weekdays. By the way, you can subscribe to those here if you want accompaniment with a brief audio podcast every Lenten weekday morning, if you don't have time to go to church services every day, which most people don't. Anyway, we have this reality of the Old Testament into which we are, so to say, voluntarily banishing ourselves, right, to the time before the fulfillment came and the coming to us of Jesus Christ in the flesh. So we also abstain from the celebration of divine liturgy during the Lenten weekdays. But we have some consolation in the sense that we have the liturgy of pre-sanctified gifts in the middle of the week on Wednesdays and at the end of it on Fridays. So this kind of voluntary exile into an unhabitual situation of being in the desert or in the wilderness in a certain way, right, is accompanied also with this not habitual kind of eating. But does it mean that we torture ourselves during Lent or give up what something we like, as is done in the present day Roman Catholic tradition? And I'm not bashing that tradition. I'm just saying that no, nowhere does it say in our Lenten rules that we specifically give up what we happen to like and uh, have that which we don't like. We have a very long standing fasting tradition, right? And we do fast within the framework of that tradition. That's the beauty of it, that we're not just doing our own thing, but we're fasting as community, as church. Yes, there are different levels of sort of strictness, right? But there is a general framework within which traditionally Orthodox communities, both monastic and lay people, sometimes in similar ways, sometimes in somewhat different ways, but in many ways similar, right? Fast the way it works. So, my point is that we are making a certain turnaround and taking on an unhabitual sort of lifestyle for a while in order for our minds also to have this change, to have a certain return home to God through an embrace of a new discipline. To be a disciple, we need discipline. The words are connected, right? And so we're making our return to God and heading towards Pascha by also physically adopting more order in our lives. Now, what Denise is helping us do with this wonderful program is also to help us with the insights of modern day nutritional sciences to do this in a healthy fashion. Now, the program has begun on patreon.com/Sister Vassa, where with Denise, we've already made 3 videos because on a weekly basis, if you're a Patreon subscriber, I just have to let you know, my beloved viewers, that it is cheaper to get the guidebook on Patreon. I realize some people don't like to subscribe to things, but you can subscribe just for Lent and then unsubscribe. It's not like joining a gym, right? Or selling your soul. You don't have to do it forever and ever. You just do it for the time of Lent. How's that? And then you get the guidebook for half price and you get in on the videos and the weekday audio podcast. It's a good deal. Okay? That's the end of my plug for that. Almost the end. Maybe it I have these brief attacks of it. Sorry. So anyway, we've already had 3 videos because on a weekly basis in the pre-Lenten period and throughout Lent, we're going to have these videos where we have this pep talk for everybody and people share and comment underneath. Okay. So we already had a video on the big salad, generally, how to make a big salad and have it not be dry, even if you're fasting without oil. If you're fasting with oil, it's fine, but with help, in a healthy way to have a big salad in the middle of your day. Then we had a whole separate video about whole grains, pluses, minuses, how to insert them, why it's important to have them, and so forth. Then the third video, Denise, was about dairy and dairy replacements and tofu. All these fascinating topics, everybody, that you wake up at night in a cold sweat and you don't know what to do about them. But no longer do you need to suffer like this needlessly. All of the answers to your questions are provided in this program. Okay, Denise, today, why don't you put our minds to rest and stop the torment that we're going through on the topic of oils? First of all, tell us, where do we get enough and healthy enough oils? Say, okay, first, we're going to address those few people, or many perhaps people, I don't know, maybe it's going to be in fashion this year, maybe it's a trend, oil-free fasting. Okay, tell us about where we can get oils if we were to fast oil-free on Lenten weekdays. Go, Denise.
Absolutely. So, sister, there are some essential fatty acids that we need to get in our diet. So, fasting oil free doesn't mean fasting fat free. All right. And so you may be thinking, well, I'm not eating meat, I'm not eating dairy. Where am I getting my fat? Well, the best places to get your fat are nuts. All the nuts are good. I say every nut brings something to the party, right? They all are good. Get a variety. Seeds like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, um, fantastic. Avocado You can get it in season. That's another really good source of oil. And then the whole grains that we talked about are another good, healthy source of oils. So we need to get those fats in our diet without adding extra oil necessarily. So in the fasting from oil, it doesn't mean fasting from fat. It means not adding oil to your food, right? So
Adding it. And we have in the Lenten Guidebook, everybody, these meal plans, right? We have meal plans, a whole set of examples of how to build your day of breakfast, lunch, dinner, perhaps small snacks in between, right? To have a sustainable fast, and within the framework, say, of an oil-free fast. We have meal plan A, that's all oil-free, including things like vegan mayonnaise that's oil free, salad dressings that are oil free, dishes both for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, oil free smoothies, oil free desserts, all of these things, but not unhealthy, right? And not in ways that'll make you feel like this is just, I don't know, not really Lent or no, it is a healthy framework and a traditional one, right? Without reinventing the fasting rules, but sticking to them as they are. And then we have meal plan B, which is a whole series of meal plans with oil. Now, families, lay people usually, but not all. Like I grew up in a pious priest's family, but certainly as children and teenagers and as a whole family, we did not fast oil free. I never even heard of it actually until I entered a convent and I was like, oh, oil free. But even there, my beloved viewers, I will tell you that it's not in every convent, nor in my first one, that we were oil free all of Lent on weekdays. No, the first week was oil free, but then even the monastic community would fast with oil also on weekdays until we got to the end of Great and or Holy Week or Strasnaya Nedelya, when also not for each day, but for the final days, but not Holy Thursday because that's not oil free anyway, according to the Typicon. Little known fact, but it's here in the Lenten calendar. And every day of the daily reflections has an indication exactly, according to the Typicon, what the fasting rule is. It does not mean that also traditionally you don't, uh, you know, do the oil, question according to your circumstances and possibilities. That's fine. It's traditional for generations. It's been done this way. I'm not making it up, right? Nor did we make up other aspects of this fast. For example, the fact that seafood is allowed on the strictest of days, except, of course, something like Holy and Great Friday and Saturday. Uh, you know, there's no question that you can't have seafood, but seafood also on oil-free days is allowed, not fish, okay, and not caviar, but those, the mussels, the shrimp, the calamari, as long as it doesn't have oil, as far as the strictest rules go. Don't let anybody bully you about uh, the stuff that they find is either too expensive or too elaborate to really be, Lenten. No, Orthodox fasting rules are set, and don't let people bully you if you're doing within the framework. Yes, we are suggesting healthy ways of doing this, but not ways that reinvent the rules or that are stricter than the rules as they stand. Okay? I just want to make that clear. So, Denise, could you please tell us now about generally how to use oils when one is adding oil, and what are the unhealthy and healthy ways of using oils?
all right. So, adding oil can be a very healthy thing. And what's really healthy is we are eliminating most of the solid fats during Lent, right? Because most of them are from meat and dairy. And so, any of the oils that are liquid at room temperature are healthier than those solid fats. So, we'll start by saying that. Olive oil is one of the healthiest, but many of the plant based oils are really healthy. So, we want to add them in moderate amounts, right? So we don't want to be deep frying things necessarily. That adds a lot of oil that we really don't need, and it's a little too much. Um, uh, it's just more than we need, and it's not going to help most of us be particularly healthy. That oil gets oxidized. It's not as great for our heart. But sautéing in a skillet in oil, a little bit of oil is fine. Adding a little bit of oil to our vegetables is perfectly fine. And then also getting those essential fats from nuts, seeds, avocados, and whole grains is really beneficial.
In our guidebook, there are suggestions and tips of how to limit your oil, or also how to saute, how to fry without oil, if that's the way you're going, right? And Denise, tell us about some oil free ways to, say, make a salad dressing. And then also, we want to hear about how to make a soup creamy that doesn't have oil. But first, tell us about the salad dressing.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So there's a couple things you can use to make a kind of creamier dressing without oil. So one is avocado. You can put it in a blender with some water and herbs, always a little salt and pepper, and you can make a really delicious dressing that way with some fresh herbs and avocado. You can use a dairy-free yogurt as the base of a dressing and add herbs, make it kind of a ranch style dressing if you wanted, but using that for dairy-free yogurt mixed with a little water to make it the right dressing consistency, or a little vinegar, right? That's going to give you that spark that you want in a salad dressing, or lemon juice. So those are a couple options for salad dressings. Some people will use tahini, and that can be make a really nice salad dressing as well. So those are some options. As for the soups, you can throw in all these vegetables, maybe some beans, but sometimes it's not as thick and hearty as we want for a whole meal. So there's a couple things you can add that are not butter or cream or even oil to make your soup hearty. One of them is cauliflower. So if you cook cauliflower long enough, it will get creamy in your soup. And often what I'll do is I'll cook it, and then I'll use an immersion blender, or you can put it in a regular blender and buzz it up so it's nice and creamy. And it has, when it's cooked that long, it has a really nice kind of sweet, sort of nutty taste. It's not grassy like a raw cauliflower. It's really delicious. Um, Instant polenta is another one. You just add a few tablespoons, maybe a quarter cup, depending on how big your pot of soup is, and you think it's going to make it grainy, but it doesn't. It gives the broth a really nice body, and it makes it much heartier soup. So, put it in, let it boil for a little while, and taste. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. And another one is a potato. And some people are surprised when I say potato, but you really usually only need one potato to make a pot of soup creamy.
If they expect you to say potato.
Well, potato or potato, they both work. So just peel it, cut it up into small pieces. Again, you're probably going to want to either mash it or blend it. So if you're not blending the other part of the soup, just pull some of the broth out, cook your potato, blend it, make it creamy, and pop it back in, or blend your whole soup. And a lot of times, if you're making a soup with a lot of vegetables, even things like broccoli, if you blend them into the soup and cook a potato in that soup with it and blend it all together, you can have a very creamy, hearty soup. And so that soup with maybe a crusty whole grain roll can be a very satisfying dinner, um,
And,
uh, without adding a lot of cream or butter.
and how about sauteing? You have included in the recipes ideas like sauteing with vegetable broth, bouillon, or some vinegar and water. Obviously, I think most people who have ever cooked anything in their lives might gather that that could be done instead of cooking with oil.
Yes. So you can saute with a little bit of water or a little bit of broth, and it won't stick, especially if you use a nonstick pan. It won't stick. You can even roast vegetables. So if you put a layer of parchment paper or a nonstick mat on your um, roasting pan, you can roast vegetables in the oven without any oil as well. And you just, they'll stick if you don't have something on the bottom of the pan. But parchment paper or a nonstick mat like a silpat will work also.
Okay, well, Thank you so much, Denise. That'll be it for today. Everybody, have a wonderful transition to Lent, or a continuation if you're already in Lent. But do check out this opportunity to have your Lenten schedule accompanied by Denise, and some of my reflections if you are interested, and if you really are feeling ill-equipped, to keep up with some of the intricacies of Orthodox Lent and also some of its liturgical specifics. You do have it all mapped out for you here in the guidebook, so check it out.
Yeah, so you'll have all your questions answered in this guidebook. You'll set yourself up for success. You'll have everything you need to really enjoy this Lenten season and not have it be a source of stress. So join us on Patreon if you can, join our community, or get the guidebook if you would rather not join Patreon, and do Lent with us. It'll be fun.
That's right, because fasting is teamwork, everybody. So that's it for us for today. I'm saying thank you once again to Denise. Do come and join us on Patreon if you're interested in being more accompanied and joining our community of healthy fasters over there, or do get the guidebook at our gift shop at coffeewithsistervassa.com. And have a blessed Forgiveness Sunday and a transition to Lent.
Happy Forgiveness Sunday and Clean Monday, everyone. Be sure you make your lentils for Clean Monday. The recipe is in the guidebook. So join us for this wonderful Lenten journey.